just thinking in my head. I've been sitting on this bed for hours and hours and hours, and I'm like, holy shit, go and do something. You can go out. Let's go to downtown. So my parents told me no.
Today I realized that almost everything in life turns out to be the complete opposite of what you expected it to be. For example, learning to fight isn't about learning to fight, it's about learning how to not get beat up. Learning to get rich is about learning how to not spend money. Getting people to be interested in you is about not chasing them, or otherwise not fishing for their attention. Becoming famous is about not caring about being famous, or otherwise not caring about what other people think of you. Learning to focus is about learning how to not get distracted. Figuring out who you are is about figuring out who you are not. So what do we do with this information? If you're struggling to get what you want out of a particular domain, then your best bet is to invert your perspective and see if there's an opposite that you hadn't previously considered. I realize that this might sound basic and intuitive, but almost nobody does it. There's a lot of ways to do it, but the easiest and most repeatable way that I've found is this. If you have a problem, instead of looking for a solution to that problem, think about how you can make that problem worse, and then do the opposite of that. By doing the opposite of what would make the problem worse, you frequently find something that is completely different than the original solution that you thought you found before. And most of the time, it works a hell of a lot better. So generally speaking, when you try this, it brings you to a lot of conclusions that you had not previously considered. I wish you all the best of luck in shifting your perspective. Oh, and the government's probably going to ban TikTok, so follow me on Instagram. Check out my bio.
If you can understand what I'm about to say, I'm proud of you. And if you can't, you have to make it make sense. All right, so here we go. I've never seen snow in my life. Not a day in my life have I seen snow. So that being said, if I was to die right now, snow never existed for me in my life. But I can't say that snow didn't exist at all, because I didn't have any experience with snow, you feel me? But I could tell you about snow through other people's experiences. Not mine, because I don't have any experiences, remember? Let's put it in a religious point of view. I just passed away. It's Judgment Day. So God asked me a question, and I go, oh, but I didn't experience snow. He's going to be like, well, duh, I know. But he experienced snow, and I made him cross your path how many times? God's questions are not coming in the form of snow. Like, if you're a Christian and you're before Jesus, he might ask you, do you know about Allah, or do you know about Buddha? No, Jesus, you're my one and only God. I know I'm your one and only God. But what's making the Muslims betray good energy? What's making, you know what I'm saying? What's making everyone betray good energy? And God's going to say, you expect to get into the heavens with gods, but you can only see your point of view. And he's going to send you right back down to earth in this vicious cycle, this crazy cycle. Is anyone actually happy? Like, poor people, they're mad because they don't have any money. They're never happy. And then rich people, they don't have friends, so they're mad. And it's not that they don't have friends. They don't have real friends. And they know that. They know that people just want them for their money. Craziest part, though, is when you're on Judgment Day and you're talking to God, you're talking to yourself. So you cannot lie to yourself. And the heaven gates are always open. You just got to open it. They're not closed. Like, you can come into heaven. You just know where it's comfy at if you know you don't belong there. You feel me? The gates are not closed. You just know that your energy is not welcome there. So if your energy goes through those heaven gates, it's over with. And you know that. So you just come back to earth to be more comfortable.
I need some of you to understand that being rational will get you a goal, but won't get you a dream. Dreams, by definition, do not follow control or rationale. Goals you can absolutely plan for. You can say, I want to be a lawyer, so I go to law school and then I become a lawyer. A dream, something that you've never seen before, something that you believe it needs to exist but doesn't already exist, requires an unreasonable relationship with risk. You have to bet on yourself and on yourself alone, which is why you hear so many incredible creatives like an Issa Rae or a Quinta Brunson. They'll say, I did not know how I was going to get there, but I knew I was going to bet on myself, and I was certain it was going to happen. And by definition, that's what makes them dreamers. At some point in a big dream, what you can see will tell you that you're going to fail. And you have to decide that there is an alternate reality where that is impossible.
When your job has panic room.
The way in embarrassment is not real, like, what are they gonna do? Beat you up?
So I'm on shrooms, right? I'm on shrooms, I'm dancing, I'm feeling so fucking free. House music is playing. I'm feeling like my most like flowy, free, authentic, confident self. I'm fully just like moving, dancing to the music, right? And the moment I open my eyes and I look around me and I start to notice the people around me and I start to think, how are they perceiving me right now? Am I looking good? Like, how am I looking? And then I start to like dance a little bit differently, and maybe I'm popping my ass a little bit. And I'm like, okay, how can I look better? How can I look cooler? And then I just noticed this feeling in my body. I just didn't feel as good. I didn't feel as free. And I was like, whoa, I lost that free, flowy feeling. Why? And then I was like, oh my God. It's because I'm worried about how I'm being perceived right now that I abandon myself and my flow. And like, it's so natural for me to do that. And so what I did was I closed my fucking eyes and I just tapped back into my body in that flow. And I was just like, this feels good and I don't give a fuck about what I look like because I feel so good and so fucking free, and it doesn't matter what people think of me. It just made me realize how much I really fucking abandoned myself in my day-to-day life because I'm thinking about how I'm being perceived. Every single action I take is like, is this gonna be perceived in the way that I want it to be perceived? Not, does this just fucking make you feel the most free, authentic, beautiful version of yourself? And I was even worried about other people's perceptions when I was making this video. I was like, wait, is this even important? I was like, what are people gonna think? Does this even matter? And then I just like fucking realized that I was doing it. It's such a natural state of being for me. It's like, I didn't ask myself, do you wanna post this video because you wanna post this video? Does it feel good? Does it feel authentic? Does it feel like it's your truth and you're expressing it? And like, yeah, fuck yeah, it does. Then that's the reason I post it. Not because I'm thinking, is this of enough value? Are people gonna like this? Fuck that. Fuck abandoning yourself. And I just think it's such an important reminder to ask yourself in every single moment, because we don't realize how much we do this. Am I doing this for them, or am I doing this for me? Am I being the fullest version of myself right now in this moment? Because if not, you're abandoning yourself. Okay?
It's really cringe when people think they're really hardcore or like super like hardworking because they go to the gym or like do a sport. There's this guy Josh Nabby on TikTok. He like mentioned this and it really resonated with me, bro, because it's like, you like to do those activities. Like, why are you trying to like act like you're grinding so hard for something you like to do, right? Like, you're in the gym getting a good pump, bro. I'm proud of you. Good for you. It's a good habit. But at the end of the day, you're not in fucking Vietnam. You're not a fucking child soldier. You're not in China working in a fucking factory. You're not walking 5 miles for water with a fucking barrel on your head. You're not as murked as Rowan Kardashian. The toughest thing in your day is hitting like a set of squats to failure. So I don't know, stop acting like you're so hardcore, but like, respect for going to the gym though. I feel like a lot of people need to hear that.
If I leave you with something today, it'll be this. Give yourself permission to experience something greater than you're used to. Give yourself permission to experience something greater than you're used to. You're so much more than what you've been attaching yourself to. Give yourself permission to experience a greater love than you're used to, greater friendships than you're used to, greater partners than you're used to, greater opportunities than you're used to, a greater job than you're used to, a greater financial elevation than you're used to, an overall greater life than you're used to. You are deserving and you are worthy.
I don't want to be rich because I want a private jet or a designer bag. I want to be rich because I want to wake up gently in the morning and I want to make a scrambled egg breakfast for myself. And then I want to sit on the couch and read for 3 hours. And then I want to spontaneously travel to Europe and stay in an Airbnb for a month and wake up every morning and go on a walk and get a coffee and a croissant and stroll around and go to a bookstore and buy things.
My therapist actually told me once that as I was speaking about my problems, I actually sounded like a therapist. This is something that I have noticed myself, and I've seen a lot on TikTok about this, so-called like intellectualizing your feelings, being so self-aware and analytical about how you look at yourself that it's actually not constructive anymore. It's not good for you. And this is just my take on that. Being self-aware is so good. It really is. It allows you to achieve a new level of understanding for yourself, awareness around your problems. There is a point at which it becomes unhealthy, and I can say that from experience, and I know what I'm doing wrong. In life, I'm a very analytical person. I like to know the plan, I like to know the numbers, I like to know how it's all going to work. But the problem is, you cannot apply that to you. You can apply that to systems, and humans are systems, but very, very disorganized and unpredictable ones. It's not really possible to see yourself in black and white, and there'll be reasons you feel certain ways that you have absolutely no idea about. And I think it's really important to recognize that. The truth is that we will die not knowing why we react to things in certain ways, why we feel certain ways, why we have these fears of whatever they might be, because you cannot lay a human out in black and white. If you are an analytical person and you like to really analyze everything, just know that you can't really do it with yourself. You need to get therapy. And there's me, even at therapy, doing it to myself. It's very easy to want to analyze yourself and see things in black and white because it's going to give you some sort of comfort and something you can attribute your feelings to. Just go easy on yourself. Follow me for more advice.
It is safe to be seen trying. When the mind says it's so embarrassing to try, what it's really saying is I'm so scared of being seen as not perfect. Maybe that belief kept you safe from an early age. In order for me to feel safe, I need to be perfect. In order for me to be seen, I need to be perfect. But is that belief still keeping you safe, or is it keeping you stuck?
So you mean to tell me that the devil is going to torture and burn my soul if I disobey the same God he disobeyed? Somebody lying. Somebody is lying.
Why did God decide to communicate through literature, something which is very...
The short answer, because human beings wrote the Bible, God didn't write the Bible. What are some things that God did right? You know, like the human body, gravity, stars, planets, animals, ecosystems, electromagnetism. Those are some aspects of life that human beings had no involvement in creating. You know what human beings do create? Aviation instruction manuals. I just spent 7 years as an aviation mechanic in the Air Force, and let me tell you something. Aviation instruction manuals are very efficient at communicating instructions without any room for misinterpretation, because they understand that human lives are at stake if the instructions are not crystal clear. People could die. Planes could fall out of the sky. So do you think that God has the knowledge to apply that same level of scrutiny to instructions on what happens to your soul for the rest of eternity? I would say so, right? But we don't find that in the Bible. The people who created the Bible either, one, intended to deceive people, or two, did not have the knowledge of what God really is. In ancient culture, God was a reality, an aspect of life, a supreme intelligence to be experienced, not to be believed. It's okay to believe in God, but do not confuse that with the experience of knowing God. Oracles, sages, prophets, and priests, these were the people who exemplified behavior and wisdom of knowing God. That's why they were the leaders, and everyone else followed them based on their behavior. Nowadays, our leaders do not know God. They just believe in God. So you yourself can understand the ancient African axiom of know thyself. Knowledge is experiencing. Self, human beings, and God are of the same category, not in size, but in likeness. So know thyself literally means experience thy God, if and when you're ready.
You don't drink tap water, but you fill up the ice trays with tap water?
Look, if you're somebody who knows how to address things, like if something's hurt your feelings, and you know how to come up to someone and say, hey, can we have a conversation? I want you to know that you're not the problem. Okay? You're not difficult. You're not the problem. A lot of people don't want to have uncomfortable conversations. They rather act fake. They rather just and then let's go back to our lives. But the thing is, that's not an intimate relationship. And that's what people don't understand. Uncomfortable conversations is what grows intimacy. That's what grows you closer. And people rather act fake because it makes them uncomfortable. And that's simply it. They rather act fake because actually building and working and having a relationship with someone is hard. And they don't want to put in the effort. They just want to smile, laugh, giggle, and have fun. But it's not going to work because we're all different people and we have different mindsets. Different things hurt each other's feelings. Like, we all operate different. So we need to have conversations on how to be in each other's lives. Maybe you didn't mean it like that. And that's why I'm having the conversation with you. You know what I mean? Like, my toxic trait is I'll ghost a motherfucker quick. I don't care the history. Like, I will block you. Like, leave me alone. And, like, I'm not proud of it, but look, you will get blocked, though. Because sometimes I'm just like, I don't even care anymore. But if I do care, that means I'm going to call you. I'm going to be like, hey, like, that actually hurt my feelings. And I feel like weird energy. Like, is there something you need to, like, is there something, because I don't really know. Like, I'm going to have that conversation. Or I'm going to be like, hey, I don't like when you do this because it makes me feel like this. And now they just feel like the whole relationship ruined. They got to act weird. And, like you got beef with them. I'm coming to a conversation with somebody. That means I really care about the relationship. I really feel like it may be a misunderstanding. I really feel like it just is a moment for us to grow within our relationship because we're not really seeing eye to eye. Or it might be just some, you know, wrong perspective going on one of our ends or my end. You know what I'm trying to say? But then when you do that, people are like, oh, Kiera, she always trying to, like, have her little talk. Or she always, like, don't get blocked, bro. Like, because I could have just blocked you.